Joining us now is political commentator Brilyn Hollyhand. Brilyn, great to see you. Thanks for joining us here on Power Hour. So Jimmy Kimmel has floated the idea of fleeing to Europe while ranting about how horrible America really is. What's your reaction to all this?
Nobody's stopping him from going. I will pack his bags for him tonight and encourage him to leave. We would love that. Jimmy Kimmel, at best, is a third-rate comedian. And genuinely, right now, if you turn on his show tonight, and not a lot of people are, as we're seeing the ratings continue to drop for him, he's a activist in comedian's clothing, and that's why his show is failing, and that's why he'll soon be in the trash heap of history next to his buddy Stephen Colbert. So I encourage them both to buy joint condos in Italy and go use that passport of his.
Now, in America, we're seeing younger voters, particularly younger men, shift to the right. We saw that in the US election result, where around 46% of those aged between 18 to 29 voted for Donald Trump last November, which was a 10-point increase from 2020. But the media says there's no Gen Z red wave at all. The Atlantic insists that this is in fact a big myth. The Atlantic has this piece titled "The Myth of the Gen Z Red Wave," and it says that the best available evidence suggests that the youth vote shift in 2024 was more of a one-off event than an ideological realignment. I mean, you're a Gen Z voter. What's really going on here?
The left would love to call this a myth, but I've got to tell you the truth. It's actual reality. I see it on my college campus. I was a first-time voter, and I spoke on over 22 other college campuses. Gen Z this was a fluke. This was an anomaly last November. This was a generational shift to the right by a population of Americans that were overlooked by the Democrat Party, that for far too long were told that we were the enemy right here in our own country. I know this will surprise you, but actually calling us Nazis, Hitlers, and garbage is not a way to win over Gen Z. They told us for decades their masculinity was toxic and then came and begged for our vote when it was election time. And Gen Z had enough of that. We were fed up. And this wasn't a one-time thing. Now we actually have a guy in the Oval Office who is working to perform CPR on the American dream. And Gen Z is going to vote for that in the midterm. So the Democrats better get used to being on the losing end of Gen Z, because that's going to continue.
Well, let's talk about the Democrats and their rising star, Jasmine Crockett. I want to get your thoughts on if she's doing the Democrats any favors here. She is just earlier in the month labeling the president Timu Hitler.
Importance of standing for what democracy is and making sure that it does not fall by the wayside. They understand that we have a Timu Hitler in the White House right now that thinks that he is going to become the dictator of the United States. Well, I got another thing to tell you, sir. The Democrats, no matter whether we're talking about these Texas House Democrats, or whether we're talking about the governor from Illinois, the governor from California, or whether we're talking about New York, or I can go through the states, and it's not just the governors. It is the state houses. It is the state senators. It is those congressional delegations that are saying, do what you got to do, and I will fight, and I will win, and I will earn my seat back to the people's house in D.C. I am here to tell you that time is up for playing in our faces.
Now, President Trump has slammed Jasmine Crockett, and he didn't hold back, just saying that she was kind of in the mold of AOC, and suggested that she needs to take a cognitive exam, calling her a very low IQ person. But what hope do the Democrats really have with people like Jasmine Crockett saying that Trump is a Timu Hitler?
No hope. No hope at all. I'll tell the Democrats that every single day that the Democrat Party opens their mouth is a good day for the Republican Party. Jasmine Crockett is a walking, talking billboard for us as we get ready for our midterm attacks. And every single time that she opens her mouth and uses that fake accent, we can use that as billboard coverage as we get ready to win over more Gen Z voters in the midterms. If Kamala Harris and Jasmine Crockett are the best that the Democrat Party can put out there, listen, I'll hope they're watching your program tonight, and I would highly encourage them to please nominate those two ladies with fake accents who were idiotic and couldn't pass a cognitive test to be the future leaders of their party. If they think we steamrolled them last November, just wait until how many of my peers flee their party in droves if they continue to put people like Jasmine Crockett on a pedestal, but they are. And I don't want to get in the business of giving Democrats free advice, but you would think after a cycle where they went too far to the left with the Kamala Harris nomination, they would go a little bit more centrist this go around, but they haven't. They're putting people like Jasmine Crockett and AOC on a pedestal, and Mamdani in New York. So please, their party is a sinking ship. It'll be the Titanic come 2026.
Well, let's talk about Zohran Mamdani, another radical Democrat. And there are right now seriously serious concerns around what would happen to New York City if he does become mayor. The ex-New York Police Department Commissioner Ray Kelly has warned that it would be a tragedy if voters elect Mamdani, and he's particularly worried that he'll gut the police department. This is what he said on radio.
It's a tragedy of major proportions if Mamdani is elected mayor of the greatest city in the world. New York is the capital of capitalism. And to have someone who is so totally unqualified, and you know who says he's unqualified? The New York Times, believe it or not. There's 300,000 employees in New York City. This man has basically not had a job. So I'm very concerned. I'm concerned about the future of New York if he gets elected. He has a whole list of wacky things that he wants to do. My biggest concern is the police department and what he would do to the department. There's no question about it that he would have to reduce the size of the police department. But right now, it's reducing itself. People are leaving at the highest rate ever.
And if you look at Zoran Mamdani's track record, he's previously called to defund the police. It's no wonder we're hearing serious warnings like this.
No, it's not at all. And I think a tragedy is putting it lightly. I'll say to my peers who are in New York City, fellow Gen Z voters who think that socialism is just a TikTok trend, it's not. I was in New York City last week. It's a beautiful place with a lot of potential and can really be in a worse off position with this. And that's no secret to anybody. I mean, I just challenge my fellow Gen Z voters out there who are going to get off the sidelines and vote in this election, hopefully not for the socialist candidate who's actually, it's really easy for Republicans to put labels on candidate socialist. He's like a proud socialist, which is a crazy concept. Find me one person who fled a socialist country and is wanting to come find another socialist country. I mean, people build rafts out of garbage to boat away from countries of socialism to come to America to get away from that. And we're going to be stupid enough to elect a guy who can sound good on TikTok to literally defeat our shining city on a hill, as Reagan put it. Gen Z has to understand the repercussions of this. This is not something to just test out and experiment in a lab and just see how socialism works. It's really easy for them to dangle these free things and emotions in front of our face, but Gen Z has to wake up. They have to get off the sidelines. They have to reject socialism.
Political commentator Brilyn Hollyhand, thanks so much for your time and speaking to us here on Power Hour.
Thanks for having me.